36 years of basketball knowledge and life skills. Your host, Coach Goins, focuses on today's topics on and off the court, helping players and coaches achieve their goals. So get ready for another fast break episode of Basketball More Than a Game with your host, Coach Goins.
Hey, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fast break episode of Basketball More Than a Game. Hey, listen, you know what I always say, make sure you got your sneakers on, you got them laced up tight, because we are in the basement. You say, Coach, what are you doing in the basement? It's almost basketball season. I know. But we have got a dynamic young man that's going to be on the Sunday conversation, as we call it. But before we get into all of that, and before I let the cat out of the bag, we got to make sure we pay the bills. Because if we don't pay the bills, we can't stay on the air. So we definitely want to thank our prime time sponsor, Mr. Curtis Jackson. He is a broker agent and insurance benefits coordinator, serving North Carolina and also Virginia needs. So if you need those major components of insurance, please reach out to Curtis Jackson. That's area code 919-614-5796 for your insurance needs, and that's again North Carolina and Virginia. So listen, we certainly appreciate Curtis for his continued support for Basketball More Than a Game. So Coach, say, man, what's popping today? So you know what? Here we go. We're sitting down in this beautiful, nice basement, and it's all steeled down, and I've got the honor and privilege of having Mr. Jonathan Wangler sitting across from me, and you know what? He's a Redskins fan, but that's okay. He's wearing dark glasses, so he doesn't have to be looking at all this steel or gold. But no, Jonathan, we welcome you to Basketball More Than a Game.
Thanks, I appreciate you having me on.
It's a pleasure. So some people might say, hey, Coach, the name sounds familiar. Yeah, his father was on not too long ago, and again, his dad is a good friend of mine, and also he's the director of flag football at Act Sports, and he did a great job. So, you know what, had an opportunity to kind of sit back and watch this young man grow. And as I did the interview with his dad and was really kind of, working the whole episode, and he's just always been a quality young man. So, and that's what Basketball More Than a Game is about. It's not about Coach Goins. It's about tapping into the potential, about the young folks and getting this word out. So when people got questions and they're looking for the right answers, they don't have to go spend a lot of money. The only thing they can do is just spend a little bit of time and just sit down and pull up old Coach Goins and Basketball More Than a Game and be able to tap into that. So what we're going to be talking to Jonathan about today is he's going to make a serious transition. When I say serious transition, he's graduated from honors at Wilson Memorial High School here in Fishersville, Virginia, and he's transitioning to college. And actually, he's leaving on Saturday, and he is headed to none other than Virginia Tech, and that's Blacksburg, Virginia, for those of you who don't know where that is. But in that, what I want to do is just spend a little time so folks know who he is. But before we get into that, we want to make sure that you checking us out on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean.com, Facebook, and also SoundCloud. And listen, we want to thank everybody for your continued support and like us and subscribe to us. And we got folks all across the country, and we've already dipped into Japan, Australia, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, Dominican Republic, Finland, Germany, Canada. So you know what? Jonathan, this is international. And so we're going to tell people around the world where Blacksburg, Virginia is and how to make that transition from a high school honor student to a freshman on a big-time college campus. So with that, without further ado, Jonathan, if you don't mind, just tell our subscribers who Jonathan is.
Well, as mentioned, I just graduated from Wilson Memorial High School here in Fishersville. I played football and tennis during high school and really enjoyed my time there. Was a member of a few clubs. So I really had a good time in high school, and I'm looking forward to the college life here soon.
You know what, folks, and what makes this so great is that this young man has done it on both sides, on the field and in the classroom. Of course, as we always say, if you don't get it done in the classroom, what are you going to do, and how can you pull it off when you don't have it all lined out? You know what, folks, a lot of times people think, it's just about what you're getting done on the field. No, let's talk about that. So, John, you're heading out Saturday. Are you packed?
I am mostly packed, yeah.
Watch out. He's ready to roll, folks. And, his suitcase, I don't know. I'm just clowning here. Where, of course, we're going to have a good time. But in that, let's talk a little bit about, and if you don't mind sharing with our listening audience, what was the process as you're a senior? You started let's go back to when you started your senior. Did you already know you wanted to go to Virginia Tech, or what was talk to the folks about how you made your selection and narrowed it down to your college of your choice?
Well, I think I've always wanted to go to Virginia Tech, but I still had to make sure that everything was there at Virginia Tech. Everything was offered that I knew I wanted to get out of life and would really help in preparing me for the future and doing my best. So.
You know what? That's excellent. So, listen, let's talk a little bit about Wilson Memorial. What was your favorite subject?
I would probably say history. The different history classes I got to take were always really interesting. We always had real good discussions that were applicable to current problems and things going on. So I've always really enjoyed history.
All right. So now is that going to transition to tech, or what do you plan on majoring in?
I think so. So right now I'm majoring in national security and foreign affairs as a member of the Corps of Cadets of Virginia Tech. So I'll definitely see how that goes, but it's a lot of like international relation type classes. So definitely real world stuff and should be very interesting. So
wow. So you know what, folks? So let me go ahead and mark it down. Coach Goins going to call this out. We'll see him on CNN before it's over with, and reporting from again. It just speaks to who he is, and it speaks to why we've got him on the show. And again, as he continues just to share and pour into that. Now, let's talk a little bit about sports. And we'll kind of mix it up a little bit. Now, when you played, what year was it when you guys played for the state championship?
So that was my sophomore year.
Wow, has it been that long ago?
2014, wow. Yes, sir. 2014,
folks. I had the opportunity to go down and support some of the guys, and was actually at that game. And man, what a heartbreak game! I don't want to bring up old wounds there, but I tell you, to walk be that close to the state championship and miss that opportunity, huge. But here's the thing: they can always say they played in the state championship. Unlike others like Coach Goins, who never played in the state championship. But let's talk a little bit about that team and the difference that team, as you were a sophomore, and your last years.
Yeah, I mean, that state championship team, the year when we got to that game, we were definitely a close-knit group of guys. We hung out with each other a lot. But I think one thing that really separates that year from these past couple of years is just the level of leadership that was above us. We had a lot of seniors that year, as everybody knows, and they really set the example for us in practice and off the field as well. They were really a good group of guys, and I think that's really what separated that year from a lot of Wilson's football years.
You know what, and that's a huge call out. You know what, and I just appreciate your honesty and being transparent about that, Jonathan, because a lot of times people want to hang it on coaches and they want to look at this and want to look at that. A lot of times it's the young fellas that's wearing the jerseys that have a lot of responsibility, a lot of ownership, and the true testament. I know a couple of I ran into one of those young men this past weekend at Food Line, and I think he'll be a junior going into West Point. And I was like cruising in there, and I was looked up, and I was like, "Hey man, what's going on?" And he said, "Hey coach," he stood there and talked a little bit, but that is what sports and programs need, and to be able to bleed over, if you will, into younger players. So in that, what position? Let's talk a little about football. What position were you handling there at Wilson Memorial?
I was mainly an offensive line guy. I started off at tackle for a little bit, and then was playing center some.
So what was your favorite play as an offense? I was a defensive guy, so let's talk offense, defense. So what was your favorite play as an offensive lineman?
I don't know. I mean, as you're aware of, at Wilson we run the double wing for offense, so it's kind of tough to have a certain favorite play, but I'd probably say whenever we would pass, which was very rare, but I actually enjoyed pass blocking. So.
There's nothing wrong with that, because I tell you, as a defensive guy, I'm just going to let the cat out of the bag. I'd always just look at the fingers on the offensive lineman. If they were down in the grass, I know what they were going to do. If they were sitting lightly and I could see the dew under the fingers, I was bringing the heat. But that was years ago, man. I'm way over the hill. Couldn't do it if I wanted to. I guess the only thing I can play now is maybe a little PlayStation, Xbox. But appreciate them sharing that stuff about that. So let's talk about your football number. What number did you wear?
I was 78.
No, why were you 78?
Well, it was just one of those higher offensive numbers that was kind of assigned to me. I didn't really have much of a choice in getting that.
And you wore that your entire career?
I did, yes, sir.
All right.
Kept it.
All right. So now, since we and I know, folks, we're gonna go ahead and go on down this road. He's a Redskin fan, and nothing wrong with that. I'm just having a little fun here. So, in that, tell us why you're a Redskins fan. It's kind of a two-part question. Why you're a Redskins fan, and who is your all-time favorite watching the Redskins?
Okay, so We've always been Redskins fans. It kind of runs in my family. A little history behind that. My granddad was actually in the Redskins marching band for a year when he was in high school living in Washington, D.C. So my dad's always been a diehard fan. We've grown up, our whole family's Redskins fans, so that's just something that is kind of a part of the family. My all-time favorite Redskins player, I'd probably say it was Chris Cooley. Just getting to watch him a lot when I was younger, how good he was, and how much the fans really supported him and rallied behind him a lot. He made a lot of really good catches and was good at blocking too, which is something that not a whole lot of tight ends can say very often. So I'd say Chris Cooley.
You know what? So folks, and again, think about, as a father myself, and my son is he's a Steeler fan, and if he wouldn't be living here. But everybody can pick and choose. But I know his dad shared that story about Jonathan's grandfather and being in the marching band. So and that's what it's all about. I mean, that's what's so cool. Growing up and starting, and you like the team that your parents like or your dad, and you go. And one thing I'll call this out about the Wangler family. These guys love going to ball games, man. I'm like, you know what? It is so cool. I just real quick. My son and I were coming back from a ball game during basketball season. Of course, we're huge basketball fans. And we're coming back, and I told him, I said, hey, man, I appreciate you going with me. And he looked at me and said, what are you talking about? And then I think it wasn't long after that, I think Brad and I were, my son's Brad, and we were coming back, and I passed Jonathan and his dad and his brother. And the next thing I know, I saw some photos. They were at a ball game. And so, of course, I was able to relate to that, and then so it's so cool. Think about it. He said his grandfather, played in the Redskins marching band, and his dad is a Redskin fan now. His dad's taking his sons to the ball game, so you see the tradition continues. So we challenge all you coaches, all you dads, always spend that time with your kids. And I'm not, coach is not saying that you're not. So please don't dial us on that end of the spectrum. But what we're saying here, there's nothing like going to the game with your kids and sitting down, and then 15, 20, or when you're 50 years old like I am, and you look back on and you go, we had a great time growing up and spending that huge time. So listen, I'm going to kind of put you on the spot. I know you went down to Virginia Tech one day and you took a picture with Coach Beamer. I saw that posted out there. So that's what I'm talking about. And so now he heads down on Saturday, and we get ready to transition and start talking about that here in a second. But before we jump over in that portion of the podcast, I want to talk a little bit. How was that meeting? I mean, were you guys walking in the stadium? How did you run across Coach Beamer on that day?
Right. So it was my dad, my brother, and one of my friends and I. And we were going to, I think they were playing Boston College this past year, and we were going to the game. And we were walking in before the game, and my friend just points him out. He's like, hey, that's Coach Beamer walking. Because, as you know, he retired this past year. It was his first year not coaching. But anyway, so we saw him walking in, and we just went up to him and said, can we get a picture with you? I mean, the legend's standing right there. So anyway, we got a picture with him. He was a real nice guy. He actually stood there and talked to us for a minute.
Great.
You don't see that a lot in sports. Nope. People have a tendency to, not really have a lot of heart when it comes to fans as far as being overwhelmed and things, but he was just a real down-to-earth guy, and it was really cool getting to meet him.
Yep. And again, I appreciate you guys sharing that, because I know, when you're out and about, and again, that's like me. And my favorite Steeler of all time is Franco Harrison. You may not know who that is, but people like that in Steeler Nation know who that is. I mean, and Jonathan's calling it out exactly right. And these guys are pulled 1,000. They go out in public and they got to stop and sign. But it is cool that happened. You guys were able to engage and take that photo, and of course, they posted, which is cool. I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to get out there, and when you meet a legend like Coach Beamer, what a great memories, and they frame that out and put it up there and let it be rocking and rolling. So listen, we're going to take about a quick 30-second break. Pay a couple more bills, and then we'll be back. So again, you are listening to none other than Mr. Jonathan Wangler. He will be a freshman at Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, Virginia. He's leaving Saturday. So we'll be back in 30 seconds.
Hello, Shenandoah Valley. This is NBA Hall of Famer Ralph Sampson bringing you a new, exciting radio show called Out of Bounds with myself and Lamont Goings.
Hey, Ralph, thank you for the opportunity to co-host such a great show in the Shenandoah Valley. You will be impacted.
Hey, we're excited to bring you this new show. You don't want to miss it. Coming in August.
That's on 1240 ESPN Radio, and we'll see you out of bounds.
Stay tuned.
All right, Coach Goins is back on again, and we certainly look forward to kicking off the show with none other than NBA Hall of Famer Ralph Sampson and Out of Bounds. So we are just been in the studio, just trying to get stuff lined out, and we got some great interviews lined up. So it's going to be a pleasure that, sit down and get on the show and just, number one, just have a great time and bring some good stuff to the Valley. But right now we got a superstar in our midst, and that is none other than Mr. Jonathan Wangler, who is headed, as we said before, to Virginia Tech Saturday. So with that, we are going to jump into our second session of podcast, and we call In the Paint. And we talk about In the Paint because it's a basketball show. And I know Jonathan knows all about 3 seconds because he's going to be down there cheering on, them hard charging Hokies. I had the opportunity to go down. Actually, it was New Year's Day. I went down. No, excuse me. It was December 31st. That's when it was New Year's Eve. I go down, and of course my Blue Devils roll into town, and I'm going down thinking I'm going to see a good old, thumping of the Blue Devils. Man, next thing I know, we come up out of there with an L, just because old coach he's got it rocking and rolling down there. So I know you're going to be taking on, and that's what's so good about going to a great university like that. You got football on Saturday, man, the pom-poms and the bands playing and the smell of that grass, and you looking for number 78 to run down and jump over the fence. But no, tell us a little bit about, how's it been mentally as you prepare to get ready to go from, I'm home. I got the remote in my hand. I walk to the refrigerator. Hey, what y'all got cooking? So how have you prepared to make that transition on Saturday?
Well, I think this summer I've really just had to prepare myself in a couple different ways. I've started to kind of look on a couple of big calendar dates that I have coming up as far as small things such as when I leave all the way up to exams and things. So just getting prepared for my classes that I'm going to have, some of my specific stuff to the Corps of Cadets at Virginia Tech that I'll have, some of those obligations. But I've really just had to discipline myself continuously through the summer and just say I'm going to prepare myself to ease that transition, as you were mentioning, and just do my best to get ready and give it all that I have here in the fall. So
yeah, no, and you know what? And you're going to do a great job, folks. And because trust me when I tell you this, I've had my eye on this young man for quite some time, and just sitting back, watching him in the cut, watching him how he interacts. And he is definitely up and coming leader. Sometimes people say, man, you think leaders are born or developed? Yeah, coach kind of goes, I kind of run down the middle of the road on that. Sometimes it takes people a while to see that, but this young man has got a very, very bright future. That's why I just wanted to spend some time with him today on Sunday's broadcast and just be able to tap in and be able to share in that whole ordeal. Now, as you go down, do you know who your roommate is, or you won't find that out till Saturday?
I actually just found that out about 2 days ago.
Okay, so, local guy. Is he coming out of state? Is he a Virginia guy?
So I have two actually.
Oh, two. All right.
Yeah. One is from Northern Virginia.
Okay.
And the other is from South Carolina. Actually.
All right. So. All right. I met my roommate. Oh my gosh, let's see, it's probably 20, 30, almost that long ago, maybe about 30 some years. And I'm still stuck with him. Matter of fact, he lives around the corner from me right now. And sometimes, folks, we're very fortunate to go off to college and you meet. I still love my guys I went to high school with. I'm near to dear to them, but my college roommate is turned into my best friend. He was my best man when I got married, and I actually had two best men. One was my best friend from high school. But when you go off to college, one thing that's great, you're gonna meet so many people, and that's what's so cool about it. So in that, you guys roll in there Saturday, and everybody's got your stuff. What time you head out Saturday?
So I think we're gonna leave the house about 7:30.
Woo, 7:30. Get on campus nights bright and early, and
that's right.
And move in and go full. Now, when's the first football game?
First football game. Well, they have that neutral site game on September 3rd.
Okay.
And then I think September 10th is the first home game.
First home game. So now, how does the ticket process work for you? Is that like you got it on a waiting list, or just with being students, you guys are automatically there, or how's it?
So I would have to buy them normally as just a student, but in the Corps, it's actually a requirement that we go as a group, so get to go to all of them, so it's guaranteed.
Watch out now. So what, popcorn's flying, and there's going to be Jonathan looking for number 78 in the crowd. We know what that's great stuff. So listen, as you go down and you start working towards your mate, what's the when you finish Virginia Tech, right? And these 4 years will go lightning fast. Doesn't seem like it right now, but they'll go pretty swiftly because it is a big. When I say big, not it's just such a transition from that high school all the time, same class money, But in that, what does Jonathan want to do when he walks away from Virginia Tech with that degree in his hand?
So before I finish Virginia Tech, actually, I'll just start there real quick. So I'd really like to just figure out what it is exactly I want to do because I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like I'll definitely find that out after a little bit of time. But I'll see what I enjoy, what I'm best at. But I really just am kind of going in with the open mind. I'm not sure exactly what exactly it is I want to do after college. Whether that would include some sort of government job as far as having the national security and foreign affairs if I stay with that, or if I completely change my mind. I'm not sure, but I really just want to have an open mind and do what I feel like I'm called to do, what God calls me to do, and just do my best at it. So I'm not exactly sure, but I definitely just want to go where I feel that I'm led to go. So
you know what, folks, and you wonder why he's on the show. Stop wondering why he's on the show. He keeps telling you why he's here because he's a number one Class A young man headed in the right direction. He's open-minded, open-hearted, and going down. And trust me, Blacksburg will never, ever be the same because once he steps his foot on there, he's a leader. And trust me when I tell you this, he will do just fine in that entire process. So we got to keep talking about these sports. So now, let's talk about basketball season. So the Corps cadets got to go to the basketball game?
I don't think so.
Wait a minute. We're going to have to call somebody.
Right, yeah. So one of the things with the Corps is we actually have mandatory study hours during the week. So we have to be back by 7 o'clock.
Okay.
So we get to go to the games on the weekends, but the weeknight games are usually a no. Okay. So that's going to be tough.
Yeah, and I don't think the Blue Devils roll into town this year, and I roll as they roll. So if they were in town, but if they come back next year, I'm going to have to call somebody down there and say, hey, I need number 78, Wangler. Where is he at? Get him out of there. Give him a homework pass and let him come on out to the game. And no, I tell you what, Virginia Tech basketball is definitely on the rise. Coach is doing a great job in everything that he does. He runs a very disciplined program. He's just, and again, sometimes not to take anything away from their former coach, Coach Greenberg, but Coach Peterson and that Buzz Williams. Buzz Williams. Excuse me. As soon as I say Buzz, I automatically default back to the Carolina player. But in that, he has just done a fantastic job with that university. I know in the Coliseum they're putting in some new seating. For a big fella like myself, it's a great thing because you go down, I kind of start like on a 2-week diet before the Virginia Tech game slides in. But in that we have, it's just a tremendous campus, and I know Jonathan will do quite well before it's all over, said and done. So, hey, before we start wrapping this thing out, and we're gonna have closing comments. We just want to make sure that everybody's still tracking us, and always hit Coach up and let me know what you'd like to hear, who you'd like to hear from. But you may say, Coach, how'd you land on this show? Because again, it's that time of year when these seniors are getting ready to embark on a brand new career, brand new journey, and I knew in my heart there was only one young man that I wanted to be able to stop and share this mic and give him the opportunity to get his word out across the globe, so people know who he is. So when he does have that G15 classified top security clearance, when he hits all the places that people already know who he is from the podcast, but no, he is going to do a great job rolling down there. So as we start wrapping this thing up, Jonathan, I'm going to ask you one more question. When you're standing there Saturday, and everybody's got you packed up, and they got your room all squared away, and so what? And I know it's gonna be, a little different. What's going through your mind right now when I'm posing that question? When your mom and dad says, "All right, we'll talk to you, get the hugs, and all right, call me." What do you talk to me?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely like a little sense of nervousness. I mean, I'm going into what'll be a new environment. But at the end of the day, really, I'm looking forward to it. Like, it's going to be tough, and it's going to be hard, and there will be times where I'm sure it'll be high stress. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to it. I feel I've worked hard to get to this moment. I'm going to enjoy it, and I know it's going to be a lot of hard work down the road, but it's going to be worthwhile, and I'm really looking forward to it. I know, as you mentioned earlier, one good thing about college, you get to meet a lot of people, and I'm definitely looking forward to that, and working hard and just continuing to do my best, and it's gonna be a fun ride.
You know what, and that's exactly what a great way to summarize that the question. Again, I know that was a little bit on the loaded side there, but in that and the thing is this, as he eloquently put that, he's worked hard. You know, for you listeners out there, you young guys, listen what the young man said. He's worked hard. Okay, nobody's come up. Nobody rang his doorbell and said, "Hey, what are you doing Saturday? You want to go to Virginia Tech?" "Yeah, okay, I want to go to Virginia Tech." No, it just doesn't happen that way. So he's put his time in, he's put his effort in. So what I'm asking you to do, when you dial this in, I want to ask everybody to lean, listen, and learn from Jonathan Wangler as he eloquently put this entire program together. Of course, he didn't have any questions beforehand, and Coach doesn't like to open that up that way because I want people to share from their heart. But he is going to be a winner. He's already proven himself a winner, and he will do a great job as he lands down at Virginia Tech. So with that, again, we want to definitely thank our sponsor, Mr. Curtis Jackson, for his continued support. But before we go, we always got to pump up ACT Sports. So if you're looking for a great recreational youth sports program in the Augusta County and surrounding county areas, you want to go to www.playactsports.com for your recreational needs. Right now, open registration for flag football as well as volleyball. And I know space is limited for volleyball, so if you're interested, again, playactsports.com for your recreational sports needs. So listen, we as Coach says, we start wrapping this thing up and we're in the paint. So I'm getting ready to toss this ball back over to Mr. Jonathan Wangler for his closing comments. Jonathan, you have the mic.
Okay, so just to close off, I'd really like to stress this to anybody listening. Really, just look up to whoever is in your current whoever's currently ahead of you, and just cherish the time that you have, whatever stage you are in life, because it really does go by quickly. Feels like yesterday I was walking into high school for the first time, but it was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed getting to go through those couple of years with a lot of good friends and a lot of good people ahead of me, and so just cherish the moments that you have, because they're definitely limited. So
you know what? It just so here's how we're gonna end this show. So from the staff of Basketball More in the Game, we wish you Godspeed. We wish you nothing but bright future. And as I said in the beginning, you will take Blacksburg by storm. So that is, again, he's not playing football, but we're going to hang number 78 on him because he will always wear it and wear it with pride. So, again, it has been my honor to have none other than Mr. Jonathan Wangler on Basketball More in the Game. So, again, please support him with your prayers and listen to the show. Dial it in, and as I said, always make sure you lean, listen, and learn from everything that he has put on us today. So, as always, our scripture verse, as it says, John 14:6, I am the way, the truth, and the light. So, until we meet again, as always, somebody somewhere is working on the game. I'm your host, Coach Goins, and I'll see you in the game.